Um, well, we got stuck into the week, I suppose. How's everybody's midterm going? All the kids off school. How does all get on? Is all broke? Is your fridge is empty and your press is empty and the kids doing your head in? Lovely. Same here. Same here. What a mad week it's been. I mean, I can't believe what we're seeing coming out of the Ukraine. Like it's madness. Our whole feeds on social media. A little bit of time I did get on social media actually. Feeds have been Ukraine, 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 Russia, Russia, Russia. Um, it's just bizarre. It's just really, really strange, and I just don't understand it. I don't understand why we're going down this road again. Obviously not us personally, but like my 9-year-old said to me earlier, she said, "Why is there another war? I thought we lived in a what was the word she used? A civilized world, or it was another word she used." And I was like, Jesus Christ, you're right. It's 2022, and I think this is probably, well, if it turns out to what it's meant to be what they say it's meant to be, this is probably the only war we've seen with all the social media now. I know we've seen lots of other stuff before, like I mean, the last couple of years, but this is really kind of being exposed via social media and all the kind of news stories coming out of it as well. I just can't believe it. I had a couple of guests lined up tonight to speak about it. I just want to make sure people are able to comment on this. I don't seem to be able to get comments on this feed. I'd love to know what people would like to say. If they have something, they can. They have something. I just posted up hi there. I just would like to see if anybody can join in the chat. I don't know. If somebody is watching, just type something in there and see will it come up. I just would like to be able to get people's opinion on this. It's very hard to see. Anyway, I had two guests lined up from Ukraine. I had somebody from Poland, and I also had another girl from a different part that was under the dictatorship of Russia, and a lot of them were afraid to come on. A lot of them told me that they're even in general putting like a post under anything on social media. They're afraid for their families like that. She said Russian bots look at stuff on social media. I don't know how true that is, but I'm not going to start at neither. But it's just an awful lot of fear out there. There really, really is fear of what might happen to their family members. Obviously, people who don't live in the country anymore, in the Ukraine. But there's a lot of stuff, like the front of the newspapers was a picture of an old lady with blood in her face, and this morning, like, it's just awful. I've seen a few other pictures of children in who are in a neonatal unit in the hospital. They were taken to a makeshift bunker, like, and oxygen tanks beside them on little mattresses. And I know it's happened in an awful lot of places. But just to think that this is all going to happen and so many people are going to suffer. I was reading that the Klitschko brothers as well, they were willing to fight, and I can see the Ukrainians are willing to fight for their country. It's mad. Like, I just don't think anything compares to the Russians' army, and I hope they do. I hope they do fight, and I hope they do. I hope they don't have to give in to this dictatorship and this whole kind of war for land. I don't know what it is, but it's not right. And I know they're comparing them to Hitler, and like so many things. I seen another funny thing with with Donald Trump, and all sorts of memes and all sorts of mad stuff flies around. But I seen a thing with Donald Trump's face on the phone, and he was like, "Oh, he's all thought I was a nut job, but at least I was able to control Russia." No, all mad stuff like that. And I was thinking, "Oh my God, what's going to happen?" I seen the president of the Ukraine saying that Europe aren't helping them enough, and we're not what was it they said, that we're not responding quick enough to help the Ukrainians and to get involved. And I always thought they were a NATO country, but somebody said they weren't earlier today. But I would have thought they were. So anyway, yeah, I did, like I said, I did have people lined up. Now, don't get me wrong, like I didn't go. Remember, I said last week on my last podcast that I was going to spend all week looking for guests, and that didn't happen because I was just bogged down with midterm, looking after all the kids, and like I said last week, going around cleaning up after them and feeding them, and yourself what midterm is like. But I did try a little bit to kind of, because I knew I wanted to cover this kind of Ukraine thing and try and get it from, because I know they were saying about the Western world aren't really getting, the Western media are they aren't really reporting on it properly, and you weren't seeing both sides of things. But I don't know. Like, I know there is two sides to everything, but I don't know if we're getting everything we should. Like, I mean, I stopped watching Sky News when everything happened, since everything has happened. And the other morning we woke up and himself said to me, look, just turn on the news. Russia has invaded Ukraine. And I was like, hardly. Sure, didn't he say he wasn't going to, and everybody was safe and everything's going to be grand? But then when I looked, I was like, oh my God, this is just, and because I watch the news constantly, and it's been on, and the kids in the house are like, oh my God, is there going to be another World War III? What's going to happen? Are people going to die? Are kids going to die? And, there's a lot of kids out there that are concerned. Like, I know they say, oh, don't let them watch the news and don't believe everything you see in the news and all, but like, obviously this is going to be a part of history as well. So like, the kids want to know what's going on, and especially in my house, I'm obsessed with the news, and it's hard not to hear the news in our house, like, because the telly's always up real loud. But I just don't know. I just feel really deflated from watching a lot of the news this week. Really, really deflated. Seeing everything that's going on. I seen a lovely thing actually on Facebook. A couple of people were sharing it. There was a chap, it was a girl actually posted it, and I did get in touch with her. She said that she was basically sharing a post from, sorry, I'm just on my phone just seeing if anybody is able to message me here, but doesn't seem to be, because I wanted to try and get live opinions, but for some reason something's not going very well here. But anyway, a chap gave his number, and he said that he would pick people up from the border and bring them into Poland, because I know a lot of people in Poland have offered to put families up and look after people that are fleeing the Ukraine. So I've seen that being shared around on Facebook, and I thought it was absolutely lovely to see the world helping. To see the world helping and trying to do, or all the way in Ireland, like Osiris sharing stuff on Facebook. This was a lady, I think she was from Poland, and she was sharing it from a Polish forum. She was a part of, sorry, product placement. I don't think I can do that. But yeah, it was lovely to see that all the way in Ireland, people sharing, and because I suppose there are a lot of people living in Ireland from the Ukraine, and there's a lot of Russians living here as well. And I seen a guy holding up a post outside the embassy saying, and he held up a post, he says, "I'm Russian, but I'm sorry." Again, like it was like back in other wars. There was people from different religions, and they were saying, look, I may be this religion, but I don't agree with what they're doing. And This one is obviously, it's not about religion, it's about power, it's about, I don't know. I actually, you know, I am only got off what I see in the news, but it's just dreadful. It's just absolutely dreadful. And I hate to think that's the type of world we're living in, where somebody can just say, right, I'm going to take over this country, and I'm going to drop bombs left, right, and centre, and like they said, go hit the country from land, sea, and air. And God, I didn't think we were living in that type of world anymore. I genuinely didn't. And it really saddens me, like it really does. Anyway, I will move away from Ukraine, because it's still all very horrible and strange. And anyway, I want to move on, because I have no guest this week. I want to move on to veganism. What does people think about veganism? Do they think vegans are lulas? Do they think, I know I know a lot of people think vegans are, this is like a huge big movement, and they're all nuts, and they're all tree huggers, and this, that, and the other. But to be quite honest with you, I would love to be able to become a vegan, and I have tried my hand at it. I have a cousin in the UK, and he's a vegan, and he's brilliant. Like, he's absolutely brilliant, and a lot of stuff he posts makes complete and utter sense to me. Genuinely, it makes so much sense. Now, I know we sometimes see vegans and we're like, oh God, will they ever have a bleeding burger and shut up? Like, because I've seen this before. Like, I've read comments under vegan posts and this, that, and the other, and the shit they get online is unbelievable. It's unreal. Anyway, like I said, I tried my hand at veganism, but I struggled when it came to the dairy side of things. And I think the dairy side of things is probably the worst side of things in vegans' eyes. There is, now I haven't watched any of them on Netflix. I've been trying not to. There's so many programs on Netflix that would literally turn you off eating meat and eating dairy products for the rest of your life, because it's true stuff. Like, our farming industry is just so cruel. It's so cruel. And I'm a huge animal lover. Jesus, like I have as many pets as I can in this house within reason. But like, I know there's a difference between, people say there's a difference between pets and farming animals, and we have to if they're a livestock, we have to eat to get our protein, and it is all a bit that way as well. But I genuinely think that it's all a part of our climate change. Farming has become a huge part of our climate change. And I know they talk about greenhouse gases. That's not a word. Greenhouse gases and everything the cow puts out, and this, that, and the other. But there's so many photographs I've seen about the picture of a tiny little piggy and a picture of a cute little puppy, and people are saying, like, there's no difference between the two. The two are cute, but you wouldn't eat your dog. And I just find it, I find it, like, yeah, like I really identify with this. Now, I know it's not for everybody, and people might think I'm an absolute nut job, but I could quite happily, and I know so many vegetarians out there, I could quite happily not eat meat for the rest of my life, because growing up, we always ate meat in our house, and I've always given the kids meat and this, that, and the other. But meat has changed for me. Like, the taste of meat has changed. And years ago, I mean, sausages were lovely years ago, don't get me wrong. And I still enjoy, like, I would enjoy a fry up, because us Irish people love a good fry up, and that's kind of a part of our makeup as being Irish. Like, we have a Irish fry, and I mean an English fry, and the big English breakfast, and this, that, and the other. But I could quite happily do without. Genuinely, it wouldn't bother me whatsoever. But I find being a vegan, it's expensive. It's expensive trying to, we always say, healthy food is expensive. And you even look at when you're out shopping and you're out buying your shopping, it's expensive to buy all the healthy stuff. Like you put in all salady stuff and fresh fruit and fresh veg and all. It's expensive. I genuinely feel that it's easier to throw in a load of crap. Like honest to God, a load of crap into your trolley and it would work out cheaper. And if you were to buy fresh produce and all the fresh stuff, you're doubling the price of your shopping. Anyway, like I said about like all plant-based stuff, even if you go for the ready-made plant-based stuff in supermarkets, it is fucking mad money as well. The corn mince and all the corn chicken pieces and, ready-made vegan dinners. And I know like vegans make all their own stuff and it's lovely. And they grow a lot of stuff as well. And I'd love to be able to do that. I genuinely would, because I would have a completely different relationship with food. But again, I would struggle because I love cheeses. I love milk. Well, in our house, Jesus, I counted one week that we used to get 15 litres of milk a week, because the kids eat so many cereals and we have glasses of milk for supper, and I make a lot of custard and, like whipped cream and stuff. And just when you're making cakes and all, I find it difficult to find an alternative. Now I did ask my cousin about it and he was like, try this milk and that milk, and I would try it no problem and I'd use it no problem. It's just the kids are so used to cow's milk. But again, if you even look at the milk alternatives, they are that bit dearer. But I find Aldi actually are quite good when it comes to the milk alternatives, the dairy milk alternatives. They have some stuff that's cheaper, obviously. But yeah, it's just one of those things, veganism would be great for me if it was a little bit easier. Obviously, it's a little bit easier. It's more time consuming, obviously, and I just don't have the time to be vegan. And people laugh at me sometimes. They go, I don't really eat meat. I'm a vegan. And they'll be like, you're not bleeding vegan. Shut up, you. What are you talking about? You're not vegan. But I'd love to be. I'm a bit of a closet vegan. I wish there were more very vegan alternatives in restaurants. There's these two lads in Dublin, in Ireland, sorry, and the Happy Pair. They're the two brothers, and I look at their food and I go, "Oh my God, I'd love to be able to make that." They're out in Greystones actually, and I think there's somewhere else. I don't know if there's somewhere else. So, Happy Pair brothers, if you're watching or if you're listening, give us a shout, will you? And give me some recipes and invite me to your restaurant. I don't want that free now. I'll just rock up one day and try everything on the menu. But I'd love places like that be more widely available in every community. But I suppose the money's probably not there. All these big fast food chains, and that's where they make their money. They're not going to make money out of vegans. Maybe they will. Don't know. But vegans now are there's something that there's so many of, but they're just not very many people talk about being vegans as well. So that's just one of the things I wanted to bring up, because I would love to be able to be. And if you watch Netflix, you will find really good programs. They turn you off me forever. That's why I won't watch them, because I kind of have to still keep cooking it for the kids. But yeah, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk. Oh, actually, yeah, pennies vouchers. I knew I had a bone to pick with people. So the way Instagram and everything works, you have to have rakes of followers before, and I think that's why I can't get guests, because I've been messaging loads of people, and I've been asking to come on the podcast and chat about this, that, and the other. And I think when they see you have only so many followers, they're like, I'm not going on her podcast. She's only 50 something followers. She could be the end to anybody for all I know. So what I tried to do was I tried to run a competition, and I had 4 pennies vouchers to give. Only €20 pennies vouchers now. Pennies vouchers to give away, and basically I threw it out on Facebook and I threw it out on Instagram. And I wanted people to, the way as competitions go, you tag your mates in them, and you get loads of people to follow your page or share your page or what have you. Literally 2 people. And that was only the other day. It was actually one person, Rebecca, my friend Rebecca from the Everywhere We Go podcast. She shared it and she tagged 2 of her mates in it. But that's it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, who doesn't love a bloody pennies voucher? If somebody was giving away a penny voucher, and I was giving away 4 of them now, and I was told to enter it, I would put all my mates' names in. I do want for pennies voucher. Nobody wants a pennies voucher. So if this post is still there, I'll be share it. So mention a few of your mates and you'll be in with a chance to win a few pennies voucher. Like, Jesus Christ. I think people are forgetting themselves nowadays, not wanting a pennies voucher. Bleeding Brown Thomas vouchers or something they're not looking for. Is that what it is? Anyway, share it with your mates. I need you to ask your mates to follow me. Ask your mates to follow She's All Talk so I can get my followers up. I need you to subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, and like my Facebook page, and that way I can get more likes on my Facebook page, and I can get more followers on my Instagram page. That way I can get more guests. That's how it works. It's as fickle as anything. But nobody's going to want to come on a podcast that only has like 50 followers. Especially if people are promoting stuff and you want to hear good juicy stories of people and they want to get their story out there and they want to raise awareness about stuff. They're not going to come on the likes of my podcast. They're going to go on to more popular ones that like Joe Rogan. See, he's gone. See, they're making way for me, you see. Spotify are making way for me. That's why they got rid of Joe Rogan's podcast. Now, I know you can get it somewhere else. I know you can still get it on YouTube. Spotify they're making way for a big podcast like mine. Please, I need you all to help me. Also, I seen something happened with 2 Johnnies on their podcast on RTE. Again, they're making room for my show, of course. But something about, I don't know, derogatory joke about women or having a bit of a laugh, I suppose. But again, we spoke about last week, it seems to be the whole thing about humor and the whole thing about comedy again. You know, jokes that were acceptable before just aren't anymore. Like, you can't have a joke. And I think, I'm not going to say they were right to pull it away or they were wrong to pull it away, but I do think, I'm thinking, this is a whole new thing now, you know, and it's a whole new way of society, in a whole new way society's going down. Like, you just cannot make derogatory jokes about women, you know. You can't say, you know, this is where she belongs or this is what she should be doing, or she doesn't necessarily belong in the home, scrubbing, cleaning, looking after kids, and just random stuff like that. You just can't say stuff like that anymore. And I can't remember what it was they said. And I do think they're brilliant. I genuinely think they're very funny. But again, you just have to watch what you say. And even myself, I have to watch what I say as well. There's so many things I'd love to be able to say. So many things. But you have to be careful. Especially when you put yourself out there in the public domain, you know, you have to be very careful because you can be bloody screwed. Just like that. That was a big opportunity for them lads. Having a platform like RTE, and it's just gone like that. I think it's such a shame. It really is such a shame. But anyway, again, they're waiting for me. I just think it's all gone Pete Tong, isn't it, for a lot of these high profile podcasts, and having to be careful what you say. Years ago you used to do the Paddy Englishman, Paddy Irishman, Paddy Scottishman joke. I don't think you're even allowed to do them anymore. Because again, people getting offended, you know, it's comedy has slipped into a very slippery slope. I absolutely love this comedian called Dave Chappelle. I don't know if you guys follow him or He is absolutely hilarious. I think Dave Chappelle is my favorite comedian of all time, and I know he's gone since the noughties, late 90s, I think. He's a black American guy, and he's bleeding hilarious. Hilarious. And I think he's on all the shows are actually on Netflix. They're all back, and I think he has a new one starting. If you want something funny to watch on Netflix, type in Dave Chappelle. He'll come up. But I know he had an awful lot of trouble with the LGBT community. And it was transvestites in particular. He just used to make jokes about them, like, and whether they were, I know an awful lot of transvestites got a. I even allowed to say the word transvestites nowadays. Sorry, they weren't transvestites. They were transgender people, but I think they could have been transvestites. I'm not too sure. But listen, before we go any further, I have absolutely nothing against any of them. But also I do genuinely think he got into an awful lot of trouble over it. And yeah, I think some of his shows were cancelled, and I think he was probably ripped asunder in the media, and he had the LGBT community against him, and he just said, you know what, I give up. I'm not making any more shows. Like, comedy is dead. If you can't have a laugh about drag queens and transvestites and transgender people and stuff like that, I give up. I'm not going to make comedy anymore. And I know he did get an awful lot of backlash from them, but he has since apologized and his shows are back on. But he was gone for a good 10 years. Like, he just disappeared all of a sudden. Now I think he's coming back strong, and after his apologizing and stuff, but he's bloody brilliant. He's bloody brilliant. So definitely check him out. Check him out on Netflix. Another thing I've been watching, it's absolutely brilliant. It is called, can't remember the name. What use am I? What use am I? I'm saying I actually am watching something. I can't remember the name of it. Jesus Christ, it'll come to me. It is about. It's all about, and I never knew this. It's all about. It's called Dopesick. It's called Dopesick, and it is on Disney Plus. And Michael Keating is he's kind of one of the main characters in it, and he's a GP. And it goes back, and I never knew this was until the end of it. It was himself that said, that's actually a true story. And I was like, right, okay. Did you ever get that? We were like, it's about the Sackler family. And the Sackler family, I won't give away too much. The Sackler family are a pharma company. And they're actually a family who came up with the drug OxyContin. And OxyContin is an opioid. I think it's a synthetic morphine. But it's gone since, I think, 2016. Now, I remember OxyContin from when my dad was sick. My dad's a cancer patient, and he was given OxyContin, and yeah, I mean, it was a painkiller. It was an opioid painkiller, and they were talking about. So anyway, the heel of the hunt of the story is that it was all about marketing, and it was all about how it was marketed, and all about getting America addicted to OxyContin, and getting doctors to prescribe it, and then to overprescribe it. And then so what they created this thing. It was like a fifth sense, and it was called breakthrough pain. And they said it was a fifth sense, something type of pain. I won't give too much away, but it would open your eyes up to the pharmaceutical industry, opioid abuse. And opioid abuse in America is rife. It's rampant. It's absolutely crazy. And a lot of these stories in this program, it's like, I think it's like how many episodes in the series, but it would just make you go, oh my God, that's happening in Ireland. opioid abuse in Ireland is nuts as well. But it all started in America and by this Sackler family. And it's just, oh my God, you're going to love it. Just watch it. You will really, really enjoy it. I think it's feckin' brilliant. Michael Keaton. I only really remember Michael Keaton from Batman and Beetlejuice. I don't think I've seen him in anything else. But he is such a phenomenal actor. I never realised how good he was. But definitely check that out. Dopesick, it's called, from Disney Plus, and it would make you go, fucking hell, oh my God. And like I've seen the opioid addiction here in Ireland. I remember being in hospital once, and there was a girl in the bed facing me, and she had a serious opioid addiction, and she was literally in hospital for months and months trying to get off this stuff. And the amount of, I suppose, prescription drugs in general are, it's an epidemic in most countries. And I know, Jesus, I was actually listening to Niall Boylan there the other day, and I love Niall Boylan's show. I think he's amazing. But one thing he talks about is all this type of stuff. He really, really talks about, opioid addiction. And there was a lady that came on the other day, and she spoke about the start of her journey into being addicted to prescription drugs. And what happened was, she took a bit of a turn in her life and started with depression. And then it started off, she was on antidepressants and then Valium. And then there was a couple of other, which I wouldn't know the name of them, but all different like yellows and blueies and stuff like that. And she started buying them on the streets. And her whole life changed. I mean, she was robbing her family. And like, I really only thought that was all just, the likes of the heroin and cocaine and stuff like that. But she was saying about it started just to buy prescription drugs on the streets, and she kept going to different doctors and getting prescribed these drugs. And then obviously that ran out. And that's pretty much what this program is all about. They were going into different states in America, saying they had different pains. And like one person, she was in an accident in a mine, and she was right, I'll go into, they ended up going around like the likes of Virginia and all the counties around, this is in Virginia, but counties around Virginia, or states around Virginia, and going to different doctors. But there was loads of doctors that were just basically handing them out to everybody, just writing a script for, because they were in cahoots with the pharmaceutical company as well. But I'd say that goes on here too. Not being in cahoots with pharmaceutical companies, but I say, there are doctors that would just really write out scripts for anything, for opioids. And it's not good. Like it leads into different addictions, and a lot of people dying from being overprescribed prescription drugs, especially opioids, because what they started out like as a low dose, and then they ended up going up to like, Jesus, I don't know what it was, and people are dying from it. And I don't think we're too far behind them here in Ireland. Anyway, that's what I was watching over the midterm. What else was I watching on Netflix? Another good thing on Sky about it was a media company family. Oh God, I can't think of the name, but another brilliant watch. Serious good watch. I don't know if people are watching all the documentaries. Well, good few documentaries have come out. I know a lot of people were watching that your man, the Tinder Swindler. That was very good. That was really, really good. And to think that he is out now and going around living his best life still. Fucking hell. Madness. But there was a documentary, Ronaldo documentary, him and the missus. Really good thing to watch. What else? Oh, geez, there's loads in my head now. I can't think of any of them. But anyway, it's been a interesting week with in the news and the weather and all that's going on in Ukraine, and the kids being off school, back to school on Monday now, thank God, mask free, hopefully. I know a lot of people are a little bit scared of the mask going because of the infection rate still quite high. Also, the testing. course, the testing. Is it 100 quid or 60 quid that people are going to be charged for PCR tests now going forward? Will we see as many daily numbers? Will we see... Obviously not, because they've stopped testing. Will we see less people going forward for tests because now they have to pay for their tests? I don't know. I know all our family kind of had COVID there not so long ago, and just kind of we kind of stuck with the antigen tests and instead of the PCR tests, because it's just too much hassle really going for PCR test. And the antigen tests are kind of, in the way I feel about it, is it's sufficient enough. Like, I know a lot of people were saying as well that they were getting negative antigens and positive PCRs. That's not good either, like, because you think you're negative and you go out and you're kind of mixing in communities. It's a bit dodgy. But anyway, look, I know England are lifting all their what do you call it? Jesus, restrictions. They're all gone as well, and an awful lot of people quite nervous about it. There's an awful lot of people here quite nervous still in the community, in the likes of rural Ireland and small communities. There's an awful lot of nervousness out there still, and I feel sorry for people like that. So I don't know. It's been a bit of a weird week. The week flew in, but it's been really weird just watching the news, and I don't know. I really hope things change. I don't know if your man's going to back down or not. I don't know if I know the Ukrainians will keep fighting because they look like they're. I was looking on the Klitschko brothers' Twitter feed earlier, and they seem to be really, the Ukrainians aren't. They're not going to stand down, and they're not going to let their country be taken over. And more power to them. I think it's brilliant. And look at us Irish. Look at us Irish. We stood our ground, and we fought to the bitter end, and we are where we are because of what we did all those years ago. It's horrible to think that so many people are going to get caught in the crossfire for the further independence, I suppose. So many elderly children, it's just awful. It's really horrible to see, and it really has me deflated this week. So apologies if I haven't got any juicy guests on. Like I said earlier, pennies vouchers. I want you to enter the little competition to win four €20 pennies vouchers. Come on, guys. I want you to ask all your mates to follow me on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and listen to my podcasts as well. A lot of these podcasts I cut them slightly and go on to Spotify. I will be doing other podcasts aside from the live feeds as well, and about different topics, people's stories and stories in your area. Like, I want to do one on the nostalgic kind of side of where I grew up in Ballyferm, and what people remember about their communities. And if you're from wherever you're from in Ireland, get in touch and talk about your town or where you grew up, and we'll have specific podcasts for that so people can listen into them. I think that'd be lovely as well, because something to keep us going as well. It's also, I'm finding it very hard to get guests, because when we were doing Mams on the Mic, a lot of people were still in lockdown, and a lot of people were still at home and would be quite happy to come on and chat to us. And whereas now all the fuckers are out in pubs and nightclubs and out living their best lives in restaurants and everything, and nobody's at home. Nobody wants to listen to me. Nobody wants to come on my show. And I'm like, am I going to have to go live for nightclubs, out in pubs? I think I'm going to have to go live on location next, because nobody seems to be at home anymore. You might watch that. I might get guests that way. I might go down to Phoenix Park of a weekend night. I'd say I get more guests that way. Like, seriously. I think I'll go live on location. It might be a good idea. But anyway, listen, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it there for tonight. And I'd like you all just to, get your mates to follow me and listen to me on Spotify, and I'm on iTunes, and wherever you get your podcasts, I'm there. But it'd be lovely if I could get more feedback and more. I need to stop saying as well, because I noticed when I was editing my last podcast, I must have said, I must have gotten rid of about 100 M's, gotten rid of loads of bleedings and loads of in between. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. At least I can cut them out when I'm editing. When it's live, I can't. Anyway, I'm going to go. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy the rest of your midterm break. Enjoy the break when the kids go back to school, because I know that's all we look forward to as parents. We look forward to having them off and having to do a school run and make the lunches, but I think by day 3 we're like, oh, no, get rid of them. Need to get rid of them. Back to school. Anyway, thanks for joining me tonight. Take care, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.